Hi, good evening, and welcome to the City of Highland Park's meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals for March 19th, 2026. Patrick, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Member Harmelech? Member Arnoff?
Here.
Member Weisberg?
Here.
Member Trushansky? Member Zaransky?
Here.
Vice Chair Chase?
Here.
And Chair Yablon.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. And so that brings the first order of business, which is the approval of minutes. And that's for the February 19th meeting. Has everyone had the opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
Yes. Excellent. And then in that case, would anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes of the, I forgot the date, I'm sorry,
February 19th.
February 19th meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Excellent. And with that in mind, all approved or all in favor of approving the minutes as drafted, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? It sounds like no. And to state for the record, I watched the video of the last meeting, so I'm in a position to approve the minutes. And I'm going to go a little bit out of order from the agenda that we have, and I hope you all don't mind. But in terms of new business, the property located at 3504 Dado, that one, they are looking for a continuance, so we thought we'd start with that so people wouldn't have to wait too long. So with that in mind, that is for, sorry, in my notes, for VAR 2026-00064. And Patrick?
So all we need is a motion to continue to the April 16th ZBA date. And that item will be continued to the next available meeting. Oh, to the April 16th date.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion to continue this item to April 16th?
I'll make a motion to continue item
00064.
00064
064.
to the April
16th.
16th, 2026 meeting.
Since he did the hard work, anyone have a second for me?
I'll second.
Excellent. Patrick, may we have a roll call vote?
You can just do a voice vote on that one.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Perfect.
No. Okay, so.
Thank you very much.
We will see them.
Chair, would you mind moving your mic a little straighter? Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So after that one, back to the regularly scheduled program. So the next one is business from the public. Do we have any business from the public that is not otherwise on the agenda? Nope. Okay. Then moving on to old business. And for old business today, we have VAR 2025-00058. And this is for 2021 Old Briar Road, zoning district R4. And the petitioner and owner is Opanasuk, thank you. And he's looking for a variance to encroach in the required side yard setback under the authority of section 150.1204A1 and section 150.703 of the Highland Park zoning code. Do we have slides?
Yes.
Or presentation, thank you.
So 2021 Old Briar Road, applicant Bo Panasuk. The proposal is for a pool that will be encroaching into the side yard setback requirement. This property was last before the Zoning Board of Appeals on January 15th, 2026. and they have edited their proposal. So the requested relief is to encroach into the north side yard setback of 19 feet by 4 feet for a pool. Again, this property is located on the corner of Red Oak Lane and Old Briar Road. The aerial shows what the existing property is. Again, the pool will be encroaching in this northern portion of the lot. And here are some property photos. I'm going through this a little quickly just since you've already previously seen this information. The patio area, and then this is the area where the pool will be encroaching. So if you remember previously, there was a gazebo and the pool equipment were also going to be encroaching into the side yard setback. The applicant has since removed that gazebo and moved the pool equipment into a conforming location. So all that is encroaching at the moment, well, not at the moment, all that is encroaching for this proposal is the pool, and it's 4 feet into this 19-foot side yard setback. That is also an additional move 2.5 feet south. So the pool itself is also moved a little further outside of the side yard setback from when you previously saw the proposal. Here are some updated renderings for the project, just showing where the pool will be located adjacent to the property. And then this covered area, this is going to be the pool equipment, so it'll try to reduce sound emitting from that equipment. And then just an overhead shot of the yard. The fence shown here is compliant with fence code. It's outside of the front yard setbacks, and it is 6 feet high, which is the allowed fence height. There was one public comment new from the previous meeting that was attached to the packet for your review. Otherwise, there were no additional comments for this project. So in review, the requested relief is to encroach into the north side yard setback of 19 feet by 4 feet for a pool. And if you have any additional questions, I'd be happy to help. And I know the homeowner is here to speak as well.
I have one question.
Yeah.
You said the pool got moved. Did it get moved closer to the house or farther from the house?
Closer to the house. So it used to be encroaching 6.5 feet into the northern side yard setback, and now it is only 4 feet.
Okay.
And to confirm, the pool equipment is no longer an issue.
Correct. So it is located here. The red line signifies the side yard setback requirements, and it's kind of right up against where the front yard setback ends. So it is in a compliant location.
Got it. Thank you. Does anyone else have questions for staff? Nope. Okay. In that case, you said the homeowner is here. Would he like to come up and speak? So I'm going to ask you to come to the podium, and I get to swear you in. Yeah, very official, very exciting. And do you affirm that the testimony that you intend to provide this evening is true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent, thank you. Please, tell us about your project. Tell us about the hardship.
So I think it was well explained by Patrick. At this point, after our initial meeting, made some adjustments based on your suggestions, eliminated certain things that we applied for initially, moved the equipment around in order to comply with the standards, and basically added the fence structure around the pool to provide security. And at this point, just ask him to consider the setback, which is not necessarily self-imposed because it is a corner lot. On typical lots, we're dealing with 12-foot setback. This is a corner lot where there is a 19-foot setback versus 12, which is a standard for Highland Park. This setback is not applicable to the front of the property. It's hidden towards the back. which is the north side of the property. So that's where we're asking for a variance in order to keep the swimming pool, the structure, further away from the house and not to impede into the foundation of the building.
Okay. And as you know, we have standards for granting a variation. You did present a letter in the first packet, but I think it would be helpful if you went through them a little bit now.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Would you like a copy, or do you?
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry?
I was just asking if you wanted a copy of the standards.
It's provided to me?
Perfect.
Do I need to read this?
Just respond to a few of the questions.
Oh. I believe I addressed all these in my response to the section 150.1205. I responded in writing. This was supposed to be submitted with my application.
With the-
It's a lengthy response, 2-page, I believe. Do you want me to read through the whole thing?
With the initial application, I know you did submit.
No, I submitted an additional one after that for this meeting specifically.
I don't know if I have that in the packet. Patrick, can you? What?
Uh-oh. Did I not copy that in there? Apologies. 1 second.
I have the December 5th letter.
No, I have one, a follow-up after I received all your notes and neighbor suggestions. So I provided a separate one for this specific meeting.
Perfect, thank you. Patrick is,
There it is. Oh, that's not it.
I think that was the first. I think it was in the email, Patrick, that.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Where is it?
I'll try to find it so I can.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience, and I will not sing. You're welcome.
Maybe you can summarize it in the record or something, or how do you want
Maybe it can be read into the record.
Maybe I should read through it?
Yeah, I can't seem to find it.
Okay. I'll just read through it. I guess it's to address each one of these 8 points. So the subject property is a corner lot and is therefore subject to a 19-foot. I kind of mentioned this right now, but kind of in summary, what I wanted to say for this particular adjustment that we've made, a unique corner lot condition resulted in increased setback requirement. That hardship was not created by the applicant. Eliminating of previously proposed structures should eliminate some of the initial concerns that you guys had relating to the additional structures, placing some constraints on the public welfare, light and air. The revised proposal will not impair the adequate supply of light or air to the adjacent properties. The proposed fence, the height of it being 6 feet, is consistent with the fencing commonly found within the neighborhood, including nearby properties that utilize 6-foot wood fencing. The proposed hybrid design of the fence incorporates masonry sections matching the primary residence along the west and north side near the pool area. The wood fencing along the east rear yard is consistent with surrounding properties. A limited masonry return with the high-quality metal gate compatible with the modern architectural style of the house. The fence remains outside the required front yard setback and does not encroach into the prohibited areas. Also, the hardship associated with the property relating to the side setback, the applicant has revised the original proposal to eliminate the previously proposed gazebo structure entirely, therefore substantially reducing structural mass in proximity to the adjacent property lines, and also address the equipment that was encroaching previously and moved it to the opposite side where it is now out of the way.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for
Thank you.
addressing them. I am going to ask you to talk more about the hardship itself and why it couldn't be a little bit closer to the house in terms of it being, and I do appreciate the modifications you've already made and the reduction in your ask.
Sure. I understand your question now. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's multiple reasons. The one being that, first of all, this is a new house relatively built within the last 18 months, finished with the new foundation. It's still going through settling process. If we're going to be disturbing the soil closer to the house again, it will require, not necessarily require, I mean, there is a good potential for the settlement on that particular side of the house, on the north side of the house, to start caving in more than we would want to. So there's a risk of some structural damage to the house, first and foremost. And the second, again, the hardship that we're applying for is not self-imposed. I mean, it is, we'd like you to consider that every house on that block is required to have a 12-foot setback. And the corner lot that we're on is with a 19-foot setback, so we're losing 7 feet. And what we're asking for is a 4-foot variation from your standard. So in my opinion, the hardship is strictly relating to potential structural damage to the house that's already in place. And second, placing the pool within the boundaries that every other house on the block is basically abiding by, but this particular lot. Plus, I would definitely let you know that we're trying to keep this pool on this side of the property because it is not the front yard, so I understand the encroachment from the front yard standpoint, being on a corner lot, but this is a truly backyard building project, which is kind of in line with the 12-foot setback that all my neighbors are dealing with. There is no utilities in there. It's been checked, and we cleared it out. For the last 50 years. There was a forest of nuisance trees there, and we eliminated all those in order to clear this out for this building project.
And we discussed this last time, but just to confirm, you did not build the home, correct? Like you purchased it?
I purchased the house, from the builder.
Got it. Thank you. Do any of my colleagues have questions? Nothing? I am shocked. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your testimony. I'm going to ask if there's anyone here in addition who would like to speak. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, so if you could swap. And as you spoke at a previous meeting, you are still under oath, I believe. Is that correct, Patrick, or do I need to re-swear?
Yeah, if you just wouldn't mind repeating your name.
Mark Siegel, 243 Red Oak.
And does he need to be re-sworn in?
No.
Okay, you're good to go.
Okay. Mark Siegel, 243 Red Oak, the property owner to the north of the applicant. And as mentioned the last meeting, we basically are looking out the kitchen right into, this proposed project. And first of all, we appreciate Bo and I have spoken, and, we appreciate, I think he listened in removing the gazebo. And also talking to both property owners, there was a readjustment on the heater and the furnace. I'm sorry, not furnace, but the heater and the filter on the north side of the property. So, the 4 feet is something that, I think is something I can't speak to, as I said last time, to the standards and whatnot. That's your expertise, not mine. But it's something I think, as a neighbor, is something we could live with. We've talked about, hopefully there'll be some nice landscaping. My understanding is that the fencing material is not in the purview of the ZBA. So, I guess that's, within his right to do that. The only thing we asked is if it is approved, that it be, and, we can support that 4 foot, is that there be within the record that other than the heater and the filter and the screening around it, that there's be in the record that there's nothing else that goes vertical, within the pool, within this whole backyard area. That's number one. And number two is, and I think we've spoken about this, I don't think it's a problem, is that the screening around the filter and the heater not be, be below the height of the fence, just to confirm that.
I can speak to, so any structure with bulk within the side yard setback would require another variation in order to be installed in that area. Currently, what could be encroached is listed in 150-707 of our special yard consideration code section. So anything within there that says that it can encroach into a side yard is as a right. That could be things like the patio around the pool, but generally most things so like a shed and things of that nature, cannot encroach into the side yard without a variation.
Can I make a comment on that? Mm-hmm. So Patrick, we spoke about this, and I was just hoping it would be in this approval, because don't have to go on a treasure hunt and try to find out, it's very clear it's within here, it's within the approval, and everyone knows it's one-stop shopping, here's where it's at. So that's why we made the request, understanding what Patrick said, and again, he and I spoke about that. And that's why we're making the request nonetheless.
I'm going to speak, and I don't know if anyone has a different answer. Without corporate counsel being here, our job is to grant, not to,
Well, so you can make conditions to the approval document. That's something that you would have to agree on, but you also don't need to add approval or conditions as well.
But you're saying anything that's outside, that's in the setback, that's encroaching, they would have to come back anyways.
Correct. So
So
like,
then the risk would be if kind of it's built without approval and they don't tell anyone, right?
yes, which if it's within the approval document, anything built without a permit would not be caught anyways.
I mean,
I
the site
guess.
plan's going to be part of the approval, right? So if a
Correct.
gazebo shows up in the yard, it's not approved.
Correct, yeah, and then that would go into ticketing and whatnot.
Enforcement or whatever.
Yeah, enforcement.
I guess my one question, if I may, would be, if it changes in the future and it does allow for it, okay, the zoning allows for it, then, and it's approved without this condition, then in theory, then it could be built. And again, I mean, and
theory,
this, by the way, I do not believe this is Bo's intent. I want to stress this, okay? But nonetheless, whether it's him or future owners and the zoning, it changes this way, this is a big part of what we've discussed as neighbors here that, was listened to from the last go around, that the ZBA also had problems with. So that's why there's a couple of reasons, I said one-stop shopping, but also should the zoning change in the future and allow for it, then it's not there in this approval.
I don't say we can condition a hypothetical zoning amendment.
that's kind of
Right.
my nature is that anything that would be allowed by right would be allowed by right, that I don't think even have the authority.
Well, Patrick, are you saying we do?
If you wish that to be in the approval document, we can put that in the approval document, but again, you do not need to put that in the approval document. That's
I think the
up to your
concern is
discretion.
that the neighbor is kind of willing to it doesn't seem like, if it was up to him, they would have the pool at all that's encroaching. So, he's saying, okay, I'm willing to let it go, but I just don't want something that's going to be over the fence, because then his answer would have been different coming to the meeting, right? Meaning if something was going to be built 7 feet and it's going to be over, he would have said no regardless, he would have been opposed. So I think that's kind of, if I'm correct, that's kind of the point you're making.
It is, right. And again, I think, what Bo listened, we spoke, listened to the ZBA, and I'm just asking for it to be conditional, so it's very clear within here that going forward in the future, things change or not, that it's not there. And again, I don't think it's his ill intent. I want to stress that.
No, and I appreciate your candor and your understanding. My concern is when we put something in an order that becomes the rule of that property in perpetuity. So 100 years from now, that will still be attached to the property, that nothing can be built there over a certain certain height and that's something that I'm not so comfortable.
But respectfully, isn't that what this variance is? It's in perpetuity? I mean, I've done this commercially, and I know that there's conditions all the time that are, part of it, and candidly, the screening, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So I believe, again, respectfully, that this variance is in perpetuity as well.
It absolutely is, which you're correct about, but
But the pool is in perpetuity. You can't build like a house on top of the pool
No, I understand that.
in the future.
I understand, yeah. Listen, I made the request, and, I think it just confirms what we've discussed, what I think Bo's agreed to. Correct me if I'm wrong, that it's not there. And it's now as part of, I'm requesting to actually be part of the approval. But if it's something you can't do, you can't do. But again, I think that's up to the ZBA.
I have a question.
please.
Now, my question is, I'm just going to pull up our approval. I want to take a look at the order. I guess I'm just not sure what language you want, I guess.
Was the letter submitted or no?
Yes, your letter
Okay.
was absolutely.
So other than the
submitted.
heater and filter and screening, and needs to be modified, around the heater and filter, no other vertical components above the elevation of the proposed in-ground pool, north of the existing property lines. North of the existing north building line.
Okay, so we already have compliance with the site plan in the order. And that's what has to be complied with. So.
I've not seen the order, so I apologize.
Okay, so if we already have,
Look over your shoulder.
I think, so we already have compliance with the site plan in the order.
But because where
No, no,
this stuff is
the
located,
specific of the
that's,
site.
they can do that as a matter of right.
Feels to me like we're almost setting a trap for the resident or the owner. If there's a piece of patio furniture shows up, that's, I don't know where do you draw the line on that? Like if there's something that's not supposed to be built, it's not approved, you call the city and they deal with it. What are we concerned about?
Okay, well, here, I've not seen this order, so I think you're referring to, I don't have my glasses, so bear with me, that's B2A there, that basically.
Yes.
Okay, so it's in there, then, if that's in there, then essentially it's incorporating what I'm requesting. I think what you're saying.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
okay.
Right. Like I said this before, but like if a gazebo shows up, like that's.
Yeah, again, I had not seen this
Yeah,
order,
yeah.
so it's probably, so. Okay.
Does that make you feel a bit more comfortable?
Yes, yeah. So just to go back to reconfirm that, we're okay with this, with the 4-foot variance request and, with the site plan.
Okay. And just to try and balance your interests, and I'm not sure about in terms of the drafting, I know you requested screening for
Well,
the
just that it be
equipment.
below the height of the fence. I think, Bo, we talked about it, you're fine with that.
Okay. Are you comfortable after
Is this
seeing
a-
the
is
draft?
this elevation incorporated as part of the order? Or is it merely this, not merely, but just the site plan?
It
The
was just
renderings?
it was just a rendering submitted.
I mean, we can condition the fence pretty easily, if that's a concern. If you want the fence to only look like that, and that only.
No, I'm asking is literally just the screening be below the fence, height of the fence, that's all. But I guess if it can't be higher, if he's got to come in for a variance, then we're fine. And, Bo's got as much of a interest in keeping it low as, I believe, as I do.
And there are height restrictions
Fine.
on any peripheral structures, correct?
Yes, that's correct. There are height limitations, depending on what the item is, that varies, but like accessory structures have max heights of 18 feet for like garages and things of those nature.
And this is an accessory structure, correct, in theory?
That's correct, yeah.
Does anyone have more questions for this witness? And do you have any more questions for us, sir?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Of course. And as a board, are we ready to discuss?
Sure.
Does that work?
Sure.
Okay. Member Zaransky, you're next to me.
Oh.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, my primary concern originally, a month ago, whenever that was just, I felt like it was just too much bulk, too close to the eastern neighbor with the, the equipment vault and the gazebo. So I was happy to see that, that's been mitigated and moved. And it seems as though your neighbor to the north is supportive of the distance. There's some, gray area on, the approval order language, but I believe that he's okay with the, pool sited, the distance that it is. And I agree with you. I think your hardship is that you have a corner lot, and this is really technically your functional backyard. And, if you were just to be a mid-block, then this would be, permitted by right. And I think you made good, progress, and I think it's a good plan, and I would support your variation.
Okay, Member Chase.
I want it in the record that I wasn't here for the original presentation, but I did watch the video. It does look as though the concerns of the neighbor and the concerns of the zoning board of appeals were addressed. And again, and I agree with Mr. Zaransky. I think that the hardship wasn't created by the owner, and the hardship comes from the siting of the house and the fact that it's a corner lot. And the gazebo was removed, which was literally a big impediment to it.
Okay, Member Arnold.
I think the applicant did a good job, listened to our input, followed the majority of it, and I thought he did a great job.
Okay, Member Weisberg.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a much better plan now. I'm actually still a little torn. I'm not 100% sold on the hardship. Yeah, I think I'd still be leaning towards kind of going with it. I do think there's a way to make the neighbor kind of feel more at ease, just to say in the initial build of the pool, maybe, there has to be some height limitations, because I know we're concerned like in perpetuity. Maybe you could put something that while it's being built, over this period of time, there has to be this, because I'm just, the hardship itself is a little, again, it's a pool. When they were purchasing it, they kind of knew the situation. But I mean, I agree that it's the only place to put the pool. So I think I'm still leaning towards approving, but I'm a little torn. And I just wonder if there is some sort of language we could just add in just to make everyone kind of feel better about it. But I realize that we also don't want to kind of put ourselves in a corner for future circumstances, right? So that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay, thank you. And speaking for myself, I am very appreciative of you going back to the drawing board, as well as keeping an open dialogue with your neighbors. I think that's so important and so vital. We all live in Highland Park. We're all in it together. So I think that that's really admirable and much appreciated. I believe the hardship is there, but not because it's a corner lot. I think it's just because of where the house is, how it is. My concern when we talk about it being a corner lot and that in itself is a hardship really doesn't work, because on every block there are at least 2 corner lots. But I do think in this situation, a hardship does exist and that the standards have been met, and I would vote in approval of this. And with that in mind, you've kind of heard where we are. As the applicant, would you like us to take a vote?
Yeah, if I could say anything.
If you'd like to speak, I need you to come back, please.
If I heard my neighbor correctly, there's a question relating to that box in the back and the height of it. So that box, that screening is literally a cover for the equipment. The equipment for the pool, I was told by the builder, is 3.5 feet high. So, and I need another like 30 inches clearance on the top just to make sure that the airflow is going through. So I don't anticipate that box to be higher than 4 feet, maybe 4 feet and 4.25 at the most. So, and definitely no intention of keeping that box sticking out of my fence that's going to be built there. So That's about all I had to say. Everything else, pretty much as you can see. So,
Okay, thank you so
all right,
much.
thank you.
And so it sounds like we are ready to potentially vote. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll attempt. I move that we approve the variance as drafted.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Excellent. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Member Arnoff?
Yes.
Member Weisberg?
Aye.
Member Zaransky?
Yes.
Vice Chair Chase?
Aye.
And Chair Yablon?
Aye.
Great.
So, congratulations. Cool. And that brings us then to the next item of new business, which is VAR 2026-00061 for the property at 1139 Ridgewood Road. The petitioner, Neil Fortunato, on behalf of the owner, Keith Fisher, requests by authority of Section 150.1024A1 of the zoning code, a variation, the provision Section 150.711 to encroach in the established building setback. And, okay, it looks like they're going downstairs. Wait 1 second. And
Perfect.
Patrick, do you have a presentation for us?
Yes.
Thank you.
So, 1139 Ridgewood Drive, applicant Neil Fortunato on behalf of owner Keith Fisher. The proposal is for a new single-family home. This property is located in the R5 zoning district, and the existing home that was on the property, or still is on the property, was built in 1930 according to the Lake County Assessor's Office. The request is to encroach into the established building setback of 55.7 feet by 15.7 feet for a new single-family home. So here is the property along Ridgewood Drive, just kind of showing the block here, and just a aerial of the property, noticing that it's a fairly wooded lot. The platted survey, this is of just the existing home, and we'll get kind of back to this a little bit in relation to the trees on the property. So this is the front of the property, and this is the back of the property. This tree here taped is a heritage tree on the site. The tree up against the house here is a key and protected tree. The difference being a key and protected tree can be removed by right through associated fees, and a heritage tree, in order for removal, needs to be approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals. And here is me standing in front of the property just to kind of give you what the block feels like and where kind of the house would be sitting. So just looking at the lineup of the houses. So the new proposed home is here highlighted in yellow, and the red is the minimum required setback of 40 feet for the zoning district. So they will not be encroaching into the minimum front yard requirement. However, they will be encroaching 15.7 feet into the established building setback, which is a measure of the existing homes along the block and averaged together to create this average. And why they are requesting to do this is so the starred red trees are key protected trees, and the yellow stars here are heritage trees. In order to keep these trees as healthy as possible back here, the applicant is requesting to encroach into the front yard setback for the established building setback and go up to the minimum so they can keep these key and heritage trees safe and protected. Here's a front elevation. You'll notice that this is the garage, so just keeping in mind, this is a one-story portion of the house. It's a turn-in garage, and the second-story portion is back here on the property. So going back to kind of the side profile, you'll see that majority of the encroachment will be a one-story garage, and the home will be 2 stories further back from the street. This is a look at the rear, and then just a better look of what the turn-in garage would look like. Forestry was in support of protecting these trees, and we received no additional comments from the public or any other city staff. The forester did complete a memo and is attached with the packet. And they were also approved for the demolition of the home, which was also included in the packet. So to review, the request is to encroach into the established building setback of 55.7 feet by 15.7 feet for a new single-family home. And the board should be using Chapter 150, Standards of Approval. That's all I got. If you have any additional questions, I'd be happy to help.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Patrick?
So the garage doors don't face the street? They face the
Correct.
side.
Yeah, they are, you come in through the driveway and you turn into them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and if no one else has further questions for Patrick, is the applicant here, someone to speak on behalf of the applicant? If you could please come up to the podium and we'll swear you in. And can you give your name?
Neil Fortunato.
Excellent. And do you affirm that the testimony that you intend to provide this evening is true and complete to the best
Yes.
of your knowledge? Thank you. Please.
I don't have anything particular to add. Our interest here is to save these trees in the back. Again, one is a heritage tree, and then there's another one is what's called a key tree. We alternatively could request a variance to remove the trees, but that's certainly not our preference. The encroachment up into the front yard setback is pretty minimal, and we're not just looking to clear the space of where the trees are in the back, but we want to give a good buffer between the tree and the new construction. The house that's on there now is old, say it's 90 years old or something, and the trees appear to be quite old too. So the way they've grown in, the one particularly on the right here, it's grown very close to the house. So even if we were to build a really small house, it's still the same problem. That's the nature of our request.
Okay. Does anyone have questions?
So all 4 trees will be saved?
That's a good question.
Just the 2 behind the house would be saved. Well,
These two.
Those
these
4.
2 are saved as well.
Is this one being removed?
Yes.
Yes, this one's being removed.
Everything in the back of the house would be saved.
So the 3 stars will be saved, those 3 trees?
There are more trees, I just,
I just-
the
one-
higher,
The ones up there, okay.
yeah. They're just kind of hard to see, but there are a couple more in here.
I have a question, but it may be, it's probably a question for the forester, but are other, I think I remember seeing that there will be other things done to try to protect the trees? Because I know even when we don't take them down,
Right.
they still suffer from the construction.
Right, good point. So we're doing what's called directional boring to install the utilities. We've got underground water, sanitary, storm sewer, and electric conduit pipe. So rather than trench across the yard, we set up a rig that will push the pipes through the soil, and that's going to minimize the impact on the root basis. Further, if we do excavate near a tree, we do it slowly, and then we do what's called root pruning, where we'll cut the roots underground as opposed to grabbing it with a bucket and tearing at it.
It sounds like it hurts.
What's that?
She said it sounds like it hurts, yes. No
You
one
said
wants to
tearing
be-
the root.
Right, so if you
By a
imagine like
bucket
with the
and
excavation
torn,
equipment, if a scoop comes down and pulls the soil away, it could literally pull the root with it. So we do what's called root pruning too.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I have if you could state, Patrick, as part of the order, have we incorporated any of that consideration into it, that they will be taking these measures and steps?
Those are things that forestry have noted and would be kind of working on as part of the tree protection portions of the permit. So not necessarily in the approval order, but something that the forester would be highly involved with.
Okay, because just speaking for myself, hearing these steps, I'm much more inclined to approve it, but my concern would be if it wasn't included in some way or another that, that potentially someone could get there and be like, never mind, it's more expensive than I thought to bore versus bucket and tear.
In my experience, this is a requirement set out by the forestry with new construction. Separately, I have identified that we would do that in my letter of hardship. But it is a requirement typically, not just in Highland Park, but in all these towns.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that information. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not the forester, so I don't know 100% of the requirement, but Ben will work very closely with this project, and it will be part of, they will need to submit a tree protection plan, and they'll review that, and they'll make those comments on the tree protection plan,
And then that.
which is a requirement of the permit in order for them to receive the permit.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any additional questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so, and does anyone from the audience want to speak on this? No?
We're the neighbors in front and next door. Yeah, we're next door. We're across the
Yes, I definitely do.
Yeah, we just wanted to make sure they weren't gonna build.
I would love to hear anything you have to say, but I have to ask you to step up to the mic.
I'll go.
I mean, everyone's invited, just. And if you could state your name.
Steve Hunter, 1138 Ridgewood.
Okay.
And
And do you affirm that the testimony that you intend to provide this evening is true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
yes.
Excellent, thank you, please.
So our main concern was that we didn't want a multifamily or something like that going up in front of the property because of concerns, because we have a narrow street. It was built in 1920 or somewhere around there. So we just didn't want to we wanted to make sure that nothing was going to encroach as far as additional, vehicles and that sort of thing on the street. But as far as we know, it's a single-family home. It's going to come a little bit forward. Hopefully, you'll get rid of the lake that's in the front yard. It was there last week.
I can fill you in when we walk out.
Yeah,
The civil engineering plan is quite extensive with regards.
I can imagine. So, okay. As far as I live directly across, and it doesn't seem like it's going to affect my property other than increase the value. So I'm for it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for this witness? No? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so at this time, I'm going to ask for the board to give me their thoughts. Member Weisbluth, I'll start with you. Why did I just call you that? Member Weisberg. I don't know why I said that. I apologize.
No worries. I think the standards have clearly been met. I think it makes a lot of sense. We're trying to protect trees, and that's kind of why we have to go out. 15 feet's a pretty minimal ask, so I'd approve.
Okay, Member Arnoff.
I agree. I think it's great saving the trees, and the ask isn't that bad, and there's a hardship because of the trees.
Member Chase.
I think it's the hardship is clearly the tree being in the way. And by giving the variance, we have a shot at saving 3 trees. So I'm looking through the rest, I think the rest of the standards have been met.
Excellent. Member Zoransky.
I have nothing to add. I think it's a good plan.
And I agree. And before I ask for a motion, I will say, because I'm sure you have questions as a group, if you would ask those questions once you get down the stairs. Appreciate that. Thank you. So with that little piece of business, do I hear a motion to approve? Anyone like to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the variance 2026-0061 as drafted.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Excellent. Roll call vote, please, Patrick.
Member Arnoff?
Aye.
Member Weisberg?
Aye.
Member Zaransky?
Aye.
Member, or Vice Chair Chase?
Aye.
And Chair Yablon?
Aye. So thank you, and we look forward to a beautiful new home with lots of heritage trees, all healthy and pretty around it. Okay. And I'm just gonna let them head out for a second.
Go for the next.
Excellent. And the next order of new business is for VAR 2026-00062, 879 Burton Avenue, which is R6/SLOZ. And the petitioner and owner, Erwin Melendez, requested by authority of section 150.1204A1 and 150.12404A5, is looking for a variation to the provision of, I probably don't have to read all those numbers, but section 150.703 and 150.707D1 to encroach into the side yard requirement and exceed the allowed rear yard coverage for a garage addition. That was a lot, sorry. Patrick, please.
For future reference, you don't need to read all those numbers.
Okay, good to know.
You're all good. So, yes, 879 Burton Avenue. Applicant Erwin Melendez. Proposal is for a garage addition. Property is located in the R6 zoning district, small lot overlay zoning district, or small lot overlay. It's a special area within Highland Park that just has smaller lots than typical. Home was built in 1930 according to Lake County Assessor's Office, and it has 3 variation requests. One, to encroach into the side yard setbacks, both on the north and the south side. To encroach into the required accessory structure setback within the rear yard, which is only 3 feet. And to exceed the allowable rear yard coverage limitation of 50% for a allowed rear yard coverage of 89%. So the property is located here along Burton Avenue, adjacent to the railroad tracks. Here you can see an aerial of the neighborhood as well. The platted survey, so this is the existing condition of the property. The structure was built without a permit in August of 2025. It is an addition to an existing garage, which you can see here. The lines that I drew on here are approximate. They're not 100% accurate, but trying to give you a visualization. So this existing garage and shed back here, the red line across here is signifying the rear yard setback of 25 feet. And the red lines here are signifying the side yard setbacks of 5 feet. So the garage will be encroaching slightly into the side yard setbacks in both the north and south side of the property. It is covering 89% of the lot. And for this property, we recently, and maybe it's over a year, so the rear yard coverage for, well, you're allowed 30% for rear yard coverage. But you're also allowed 200 square feet of garage over that 30%. It was a way for us to try and minimize garage variation requests in smaller lots because it's pretty hard to fit a 20 by 20 garage in these smaller lots. So on this property, they would be allowed 50% coverage. However, they are at 89% coverage with the garage, kind of concrete pad around it, brick back here, and the shed. And then lastly, so accessory structures are allowed to encroach into rear yards. However, they cannot be closer than 3 feet to a property line. The garage does meet that qualification. However, the shed back here does not. It's only 0.2 feet away from the property line. and the shed is about 3 feet wide. So you can see that they have the clearance for the garage, but not for the shed. There's no additional staff comments for this project. And we received multiple public comments. 3 were in opposition to this project and 4 were in support. All of those comments have been posted and are available online. They kind of came rolling in throughout the week as well, so I've posted them again this morning, and so everything should be up to date. So again, the requested relief is to encroach into the required side yard setback of 5 feet by 0.6 feet for the north and 2 feet for the south, to encroach 3 feet into the accessory structure setback by 2.8 feet, and to exceed the allowable rear yard coverage limitation of 50% for a rear yard coverage of 89%. And the board should be using Chapter 150 Standards of Approval.
And Patrick, you're speaking about this like it's in the future, but this has already been built.
Correct. The structure has already been built. So in order for it to continue existing, it requires these variations.
So what happens if it doesn't get approved?
If it doesn't get approved, it would need to be taken down and get into conformance. It would need to be demolished.
And the picture you showed before, if you go back, that one, so
Sure,
that,
the
yeah,
same
so the, where it says frame garage, is that what is
That
currently?
is what is currently out there, correct?
So it's the old part and the new part?
Correct.
Can you explain just one more time the allowed 50% of how that works?
Yeah, so this lot is 40 feet wide, 25 deep, so they get 1,000 square feet of, so their rear yard is 1,000 square feet. You would be allowed to cover 300 square feet. And then in the R6 and R7, we recently passed that garages are allowed 200 additional square feet above that minimum. So that gets you to 500 square feet or 50% of coverage for this property. It changes when the rear yard changes, but for this property, it's 50%.
Right, so basically almost, 90% of that area is the garage currently. That's what we're.
A good amount. I mean, there is this brick patio here, the shed, and this concrete area here. That also counts towards the coverage. So yeah, that is also incorporated in that 89%.
And the current owner is the one who built it, right? The garage, obviously.
Correct.
Do we know what, can I have a question, Chair?
Yes, please.
Do we know what the coverage was before this addition?
That was my question.
I do not have that number, no.
The likely
Can we take a
legal
look at it?
non-conforming?
We can see it, so prior, I'm trying to figure out what
So if that's 20 by 20, that's, right?
the structure that looks like a garage being eaten by another garage, that's the original garage?
Yes, that's correct.
The one that's being consumed is the
Yes.
original garage, yes.
So it's 1,000 square feet, Patrick, roughly?
Yes, that's correct.
So if it was, so if it's a 20 by 20, it's 400 square feet plus a bonus of 200. So technically they're allowed to cover basically 60%.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
So if the garage, if the backyard's 1,000 square feet
Correct.
and the garage is hypothetically 20 by 20, so 400 square feet. And then they can get a bonus of 200 square feet.
So the bonus is off of the requirement. So they are allowed 300 square feet of coverage, and the 200 square feet is added to that. So they're allowed 500 square feet of coverage.
Gotcha. So they're allowed 30% and they're allowed, okay, got it. Okay.
And what, is there a height?
Correct. Yes, I forgot to mention that. You're allowed 18 feet for the height limitation. They are at 17 and a half, so they are compliant with that. Yeah, you have to keep them both open. I'll go tell them to quiet. I'll be right back.
You could have an 18.
You're technically shutting the public out of a public meeting.
Open meetings.
Oh. No, they're locked, they're just closed.
think we've,
I thought we could always close one and a half.
Okay.
There's a lot of crazy,
They all went downstairs. It's just, I guess, it's
lot of
marble
crazy
and
rules.
loud. And on the record.
thank you.
Patrick, you don't have printed copies of the neighbor letters, do you?
I do
you
have printed copies.
I think I got them all. I just was curious. I didn't know like if I was looking at an older, newer version of the.
Yeah, sorry, it became 32 pages, so I didn't want to print off.
And sorry, you said the
copies.
current build of the garage is 17 feet?
Oh, yes. Current height of the garage is 17 and a half feet, so it is compliant with the accessory height limitation.
The addition is still,
Yes, that's correct.
okay.
So I'm just trying to wrap my head around.
Did the applicant get notice to stop work like in August, and it's just been sitting like this since then? Is that?
That's correct.
Okay, does anyone have any more questions for Patrick? Okay, and Patrick, do you have anything else for us, or?
No, I don't think so. The applicant is welcome to speak.
Okay, we'd love to hear from the applicant.
Good evening. My name is Katerina Carrick. I'm the attorney for the applicant, and this is Irvin Melendez, the applicant.
Okay, and if you're both going to speak, which you're obviously more than welcome to, I'm going to ask you both to be sworn in. And so with that in mind, do you affirm that the testimony that you intend to provide this evening is true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, so we are here for the variations as explained by Patrick. Let me just move here. The property in question is 879 Burton Avenue in Highland Park. It is a property that is in the R6 zoning district with the small lot overlay zone being applicable. As you can see here, this is the location of the property, and the lots in the area vary in terms of size, but this is a fairly small lot. I won't reiterate what's been said before, but we are asking for 3 variances to accommodate the existing condition of the garage and the shed in the back. And you can see here an image. I know the picture that was shown before looks pretty dramatic. It's an unfinished addition to the garage. When you're standing there and taking a picture of an unfinished structure, it can be a little daunting, but this is to provide an image of what is visible from the public right-of-way, from the front of the property. And it's a single-family residence constructed in 1929. There is that detached existing garage, which is not compliant with the current code. It was built before the regulations went into effect. So the existing garage itself is not compliant with the setback requirement. It was constructed in August 2025. We will go over that in just a minute here. And it was a 2-day project, and about 70% got completed in 2 days. We'll explain how and why and how we got to where we are in this unfortunate situation. There is a shed and there's paved surfaces. There's a driveway that extends all the way to the rear towards the garage. The garage height, again, is below 18 feet, which is the maximum by code, and that is with the addition. A stop work order was issued for unpermitted construction, and this was as a result of an internal misunderstanding. We'll get into that in just a minute. So this is the site as it exists today. And here are the plans that were prepared by our architect. You can see the garage and features of the addition here. This is the elevation. And these are some additional photos. So again, from the public right away, you don't really get to, it sits so far back that you don't really get to see it. There's a house, there's a driveway, and it's all the way back by the railroad tracks. It is unfinished, so it doesn't look very pleasant. And they've been trying to get this resolved since late August, early September. Right away, as soon as they found out there was a stop work order, they submitted for a permit and didn't quite understand what all of the things that would be required for variances. So there was a lot of back and forth with the city regarding how to rectify the situation. So the standards for zoning, reasonable return. So the lot is only 39.99 feet wide with a depth of 138 feet. It's a small lot, very narrow lot that extends in depth. And it's improved with a single family residence, and the residence itself is only 976 feet, square feet as the home. It's a fairly small house. The family includes, it's a pretty large family, the owner, who's here with me right now, parents and 2 siblings. There's 2 children, 10-year-old and a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old. And it's a lot to pack in such a small house, but they've been living here for the past 20 years. They have a very well-established reputation in the neighborhood, great relationship with the neighbors. We will go over the letters of opposition and support, but it's notable that the 2 adjacent neighbors, they have no problems with this. The house and the garage, they lack storage that I think would be generally expected for a modern-day family, and the property cannot yield a reasonable return due to the lot width constraints and setback minimum. The unique circumstance, so the hardship, the existing garage has a 3-foot setback on the southern side, and it already does not conform with the current code. It's not compliant. It's very hard to fit a garage within the requirements of the ordinance. And the lot size and the rear yard configuration limit the addition, any possible additions and accessory structures. And it's worth noting that all of the variations requested are directly related to the lot size and lot width challenges. Also, the conditions are not generally applicable to all properties in the district. Various lots, there are various lot sizes in the district, and many small lot properties needed variances over the years. And I think as a result, we've had the city come up with the overlay district to handle the constraints that come with these small lots. The physical conditions of the property, the lot has many physical constraints. The garage is set further back, and the driveway is about 13 feet wide and 112 feet deep. It just limits options for like an addition to the house or an addition to the garage that looks a little different. The addition to the home or the garage would require variances, so either way, we would be here asking for variances. The proposed expansion is it may seem unsightly now because it's not finished, but if you think about it, it's the most logical location for an addition if you're looking for to add storage, create additional storage for the owners. It's in the rear of the property. Again, it abuts a railroad track, and again, the neighbors to both of the sides are not opposed to the request, and the strict application of the rules and regulations would result in hardship beyond mere inconvenience. So the hardship is not self-created, and I'll get into how we got to this situation. So work was done to the property. The owner did not authorize any of the work. They are general contractors. It's a family business. Mr. Melendez was tasked with applying for permits, and they had another project in Highland Park that just got permits. They had other properties in the area where they were getting permits. He left town, and his stepfather was under the impression that they got permits for the work. And they moved quickly. They got all this done within like a 2-day period. And they got, the stop work order was issued. They stopped work right away. He tried to apply from Washington State while he was out of town through the portal for a permit to just rectify this mess that they got into. He had to come back and handle it in person here. But as soon as, I think it was like early September, so this happened in August, late August, early September, they had submitted for a permit. And so they've been going back with the city, first on the permit, then on the variances, what's required, how to rectify this. And it's really unfortunate that we're in this situation, but they're trying to fix it. And as general contractors, I think some of the letters that were submitted by the neighbor, I think it's 2 neighbors. One is, it sounds like a family, and then another neighbor in the area. They're concerned with, like, you know, they come back for lunch, there's a company vehicle, sometimes they have items with them, and the goal is to have a tidy property that is not causing problems for anybody in the neighborhood. The additional storage is their personal storage. It's not for their company. It's not commercial storage. But they do have ladders. They have grills. They have bicycles. They have personal stuff that needs to get stored somewhere. And with a family of 5, it's just not, there's no adequate space for all their bulky items. And this would, I think this would actually help those neighbors see a more cleaned up property that's tidy, that's orderly, that has everything stored out of sight. So well, we appreciate their concerns. I think that the letters of support speak for themselves, and this would actually be a benefit to the property owner and to the surrounding neighbors. So they've never had a permit issue. This is the first time in their general contracting career that they've had a permit issue come up. Immediately stopped any work, probably why the property looks like it does now, because it's been sitting there since the summer of last year. So now we're trying to rectify it and get the variances, and not just the variances for the work that needs to be done, but to acknowledge the existing conditions of the garage that already, the current garage that's already built, not the addition. There's no material detriment to the public welfare. The use of the property will remain the same. It's a residential garage, and there will be residential storage, bikes, grills, things of that sort. And it's an accessory structure that does not create detriment to the surrounding owners. It's set really far back. You can't even see this unless you're like trying to see it, like going into their driveway, basically. And we got 5 letters of support. I know that Patrick said 4. We will count all of them. We got 5. So, and it's all from nearby neighbors. And we didn't even get the letters from the 2 adjacent neighbors because they're elderly and they were not available when we tried to knock on their doors, but they're supportive. But other neighbors in the vicinity support the variance request. And the structure is subordinate to the principal residence. It's set further back, you can't even see it. And again, the light, air, safety, property values, the garage height complies with the height maximum, no increase in traffic, no change to the street or parking. And the property remains a single-family residential use. There's no change to the principal structure. Again, hard to see it from the public right-of-way. It will improve the site and the surroundings by providing space for the family to store their items, bulky items, grills, summertime, like furniture and stuff like that. It's very consistent with the residential setting. And I will note for their business, they do have 2 business locations, one in Waukegan, one in North Chicago. So they're not running a business out of here. I know there's been some speculation from the neighbors because they see like a company vehicle, they may see like some items on the site, but this is not their business location. There's no intention to store business items in the garage or the addition. This is purely residential. Harmony with spirit and intent of the code. The proposal is in harmony and the spirit and intent of the code. It's preserving the character of the surrounding area by placing the addition away from public view, and through the SLOZ, the overlay, the code supports a more flexible case-by-case approach to variations for properties that are within the overlay. I know that there's that added bonus for the overlay district for the rear yard lot coverage, but as you can see, it's, it's still limiting. So, the question is, do you get the variance for an addition to the home? Do you get the variance for an addition to the garage? Or, it's just really hard to meet the every single aspect of the code. And I'm showing here all of the neighbors who have submitted letters. And I believe 822 had 2 letters submitted, so we have 5 letters. And again, you see our property is completely red, and the neighbors on both sides have no issue. He's been mowing their grass since he was 13 years old. They have a really good relationship, and both of those neighbors are elderly. And just to have that relationship and camaraderie in the neighborhood and to have them support him, it just speaks for itself. So again, they've been there 20 years. We're happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
I'm just going to interject quickly that those are Vic printed off those public comments for you.
I'm sorry, just to say, do you also go by Daniel?
It's my stepdad, the general contractor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, just because one of the letters was
Absolutely.
about Daniel, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, and so they're part of the same, he works for his dad, but he's in charge of all the permitting for the company. And again, this is the first time they've ever gotten in any trouble. It was a misunderstanding. He was in Washington State, and he flew back to fix this. Unfortunately, it took much longer to kind of figure out what to do and how to get this resolved, but here we are trying to fix it and get everything back in order.
Okay. I'm going to just start by saying it is hard to start by reading that it's the home of a contractor and there was this snafu, and I understand that snafus happen in all sorts of times in businesses, but that does make it an extra little,
Yeah, I agree. And they had a project that was on, was it St. John's Avenue?
St. John's Avenue.
That one got approved like just prior to this. They had other permits that he had pulled. And so it was just a lot of permit work that was getting done, and the father thought that they were good and in the clear, and
Just for
they would
curiosity,
not try to do this
Did they
without.
submit a permit
For,
prior to August, or was there a permit that was submitted? just
He was
wasn't
supposed to
approved?
submit it.
So it
and he
wasn't even
didn't-
submitted, it just wasn't not only not approved, it just wasn't submitted at all, okay,
Correct.
thank you.
because you didn't think work was going to be started for
He didn't
weeks,
know.
months.
time, yeah.
He didn't know, so he thought, and yeah.
You must have had words.
Well, that's his property, so he's the one who got in trouble. And I mean, it's a bad situation for everybody.
Okay, do we have more questions?
is there any plans or drawings of what it potentially will look like when it's over? Because I know the height is within standards, but one of our standards is that the variation will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. So it's very tough for me to kind of visualize if a 17-foot high garage is going to kind of really stand out in this neighborhood. even though it would be kind of under the height regulations.
Yeah, I think the idea, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that it's going to be the same as the existing garage, and I thought I had a better picture, but it's going to blend in with, in terms of like the color and the roofing and all that, it's going to be the same, so it will actually look a lot better than it does now.
Well, how about that? How tall is the house? Do you know?
It's definitely less than the structure in the back, right?
I believe the house is a little bit taller than the structure.
Oh, it is, okay.
Do we have a rendering? Sorry, do we have
There was a draw, there was a, right there.
Okay, all right, that's what I wanted to see. Thanks.
And I'm going to ask, the pre-existing garage was a two-car garage?
Yes.
And so this is now the equivalent of a 3.5-car garage?
But what's
So,
upstairs? What's in the, why does it need to be so high?
It's going to be extra storage. We are going to be replacing the, I believe, 2x8s to 2x10s to be able to support extra storage space up there.
So like an attic type
Basically, yeah.
And just
loft.
to say it, so this is a massive garage, especially for this zone, correct? Is that, Patrick, is that correct to say that this is, I mean, to me, visually, it looks like the equivalent of a 4-car garage? What's can you tell me what the dimensions are?
it's 13 feet wide for the addition, I believe. And I think it's 27 feet deep, approximately. Actually, I should be here. Yep, it's right
Yeah.
there. And that will not be like a parking garage. It's specifically for storage. It is a large family. They have multiple vehicles. They want to be able to park their vehicles in the garage, two-car garage. And, you know, they do have ladders and like things like that that they maybe have a more intense use or need for storage, like within the garage space. It will certainly help them not kind of keep it outside in the yard, keep it out of sight. But again, it's for residential. It's not, they're not operating a business or planning to store like commercial equipment there or something like that.
Please, Member Chase.
So is it fair to characterize that the space that's being added, that all the addition is not, it's being added to a garage, but it's actually not garage, the use is not as a garage?
Correct.
So all the space that's, the additional space that's next to it and on top of it, because it's kind of wrapping around the old garage. Correct, I mean, I know that's not a builder's term, but it looks like it's next to the garage and then going on top of the garage. That's all storage space.
Correct.
So no more, you're not adding more space for cars.
No, yeah, that's
Okay.
correct.
And just to beat a dead horse, so it will remain a 2-car garage.
Correct.
And can you just tell me the length across? I'm having a hard time just finding
Let me get the survey up.
the measurements. I apologize.
So do you
trying
mean
to
like
get my-
the total dimensions or just of the addition?
I would love the total dimensions.
So it's 32.6 feet. That's the side with the garage door openings.
Okay.
By 26.2.
So in idiot terms, that's like a 3.5-car garage. Even though we're only putting 2 cars in, it's the equivalent size in my head,
Roughly.
roughly. Okay.
Oh, I have another question.
Please, Member Chase.
I
I saw that you provided a map that showed the location of the people who gave the letters of support. Do you know where the people who gave letters of, I guess, non-support? I think, all right, I'm seeing addresses here now.
Yeah, I think one's across the street, correct?
One's directly next to 882 and then across the street from that one. So 2 houses down from our home. I believe it's 889 and 888 maybe? Can't really see it. Yeah, 889 and 888.
Can you talk more about the rear yard coverage? Because to me, that's the largest number that we're kind of having to tackle as well.
So we don't have the numbers of what it originally was. I think if I had to use my non-math brain, I would think it's above 50% because the addition is not, if 50% is allowed and the garage was within that, and you add, and we're getting to 89, I don't think we're adding that much to get to 89. So I would think that with the garage and some of the other conditions, and then the addition, we're getting to that number, but I don't know what it was before, but I think it was not compliant with the requirement even before.
Definitely was not compliant.
I can at least confirm the southern side yard, that's the original garage, so that is non-compliant with the side yard, and that was not newly created. So there were some non-conformities existing previously.
And I think there may be other nonconformities, not to raise an issue, but just to acknowledge the kind of challenges of the lot. The driveway is very narrow. I don't think it complies with code. It's probably non-conforming, and then there may be other conditions as well, that just due to the nature of the lot, any type of work or addition or accessory structures in the rear, like we would run into problems, either with the side yard setback or lot coverage. But again, I don't think we were in compliance with that lot coverage to begin with.
Well, Patrick, it's easy to do the math.
So, yeah, basically, the addition is roughly 350 square feet. So if you remove that, that'd be around 537 square feet based off of that. So they'd be slightly over, but close to conforming. But they'd be the 37 square feet over.
Okay.
And that's just quick math right now. I'm not verifying that those are 100% correct.
And
That's usually correct.
That's with the additional 30% or 20%, was it?
Yeah, so you'd be allowed 500 square feet coverage. Without the addition, it'd be around 540 square feet. So just like 40 over.
If they added an addition to the house in the rear yard, would it count towards the lot coverage? And I know I'm not supposed to ask questions. I'm just putting that out there because that's the alternative, right? Where do you find the space for it?
Additions to the home couldn't encroach into the rear yard setback. The primary home cannot encroach into the rear yard setback. So an addition to that would either need to be a second level or just conforming with the buildable area.
And
I was going to ask that. Why didn't you consider adding a second story under the house?
We definitely have architecture plans, and following up on this variance request we had submitted, but due to the stop work order, that basically got shut down until this gets handled.
Do you still plan on doing that also?
Yeah, absolutely, through the proper channels. We've got the drawings, we've got everything ready to go. It's just we need to handle this first.
Have you tried speaking with the two neighbors who sent the not-so-happy letters in?
They won't answer at the door whenever I go knock.
That's
They kinda-
unfortunate.
But they're not here.
Thank you for knocking and trying. Do we have more questions? Is there any additional questions?
So,
Yes, okay, Member Arno.
I said, well, I'm just confused. So did you not think you needed permits, or you had the permits, you were ready to go, and someone just started construction thinking, we either have them or we don't need them? Which one was it?
We knew we needed them, and my stepdad, I guess, was under the impression that I had already applied for it.
Applied and received?
Exactly, because we received permits for a separate job at St. John's 3 days prior to me leaving out of town. And once I'm out of town, my phone kind of just stays off, and I came back and realized we have a stop work order. I have to get on top of these permits. I have to.
Well, but when permits are issued, doesn't someone show up, or you have to go get a piece of paper and you post it on the building?
Absolutely.
So he didn't see anything posted on the building, yet started anyway. So he could have thought permits were received because he didn't see that piece of paper that said permits were received.
He thought he took care of it,
It's definitely a miscommunication.
but yeah, they are supposed to be posted, you're right.
It's like on the
Right
paper.
on the front,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's the first time this has ever happened, and
So you never submitted, because if you had submitted, you would have to submit for a variance also
absolutely.
Yeah.
at the same time. Or, I don't know, the process is variance, building permits, I don't know which goes first. But
Initially, I submitted a building permit request, and that's when I received feedback that a variance was going to be probably
Oh,
required.
so you submit for building permits first, and then they say you need a variance?
Yes.
It depends. If they know that they need a variance, some people just apply for the variance.
But, okay,
Sometimes you get caught just with, we get a building permit and it needs a variation.
got it.
So,
Okay.
It's a very unfortunate situation. Nobody, like, they weren't trying to get to this place. I mean, I think there's plenty of blame to go around regarding how they got here, but this is not, like, they've had this issue. This was the first time they've ever run into this issue on their own property. Never had this issue with other clients or problems getting permits, posting permits, doing all that. I think maybe there was just a little bit of a lax approach with the stepdad and lack of communication with Irwin going out of town. But again, when he came, they stopped work. They haven't done anything since. And when he came back in September, I think it was like September 2nd or right around there, the 1st, he applied right away, thinking that they'll just get the permit, not realizing that there was all of the overlay district, the requirements for the lot coverage, and everything else would kind of kick into place here and warranting a variance.
It's my first time ever running into any variances, unfortunately.
But you didn't even know you needed a variance
Absolutely.
because you hadn't submitted any of the paperwork.
Correct.
For building permits, right?
So, because
Yeah, it's
you had only
strange.
submitted paperwork for the St. John's job, and that's what came back.
Correct.
And they do have there was an architect involved, like this is not, I don't know, there's plenty of blame to go around. I mean, I would think the architect would have flagged the need for a variance.
Well, but you didn't even put in for a permit for this.
They had
So-
plans drawn up for it, though.
I understand that, but, I mean, you're here because you need a variance, but you didn't even have a permit to start the work. Like Skip, someone put in the papers and then it was like, you had nothing.
Yes, they did not have an application submitted. It was supposed to be submitted. They had the plans drawn up, architect involved, and it wasn't submitted.
Okay, I'm going to speak first, and people can also ask more questions. This is really complicated, to say the least, because as Member Arnoff said, even as layman, I know you have to have that piece of yellow paper stuck in the window. So that's a real big flag just to go with. And then in terms of the project itself, especially looking at the coverage, the rear yard coverage, like it's a big project, in my opinion, on a small property. And I understand the need for storage because, yeah, you've got people, you got stuff. I understand that, but this is a really rough position, not only for you and your family, but for us as a board. And I just feel like I need to say that out loud before we even start to discuss. But before we start to discuss, does anyone have any more questions? Okay, Member
Well,
Chase.
I'm not sure who this question is for. And we're asking, there are 3 encroachments. And the second one is the shed encroachment. Is that a separate structure from what we're looking at? It's the addition to the garage. Is the shed a separate structure?
Yes, it's a separate structure, and that's pre-existing.
What's existing?
So that's already there?
Correct.
So you're asking so part of this variance is something that's already on the yard or pre-existing structure?
Correct, to acknowledge all of the existing conditions, the
Okay.
ones that were,
All right, so that the 3-foot, the setback for the shed is for an existing structure, and we back up against the railroad tracks here?
correct.
This doesn't go into the right-of-way, the 50-foot right-of-way, does it? The encroachment is it's still within the lot line, it doesn't affect the right-of-way, okay?
That's correct, yeah, it's all on the
Okay.
property.
Okay. So I'm just in my head, I'm thinking 1 and 3 go together because they have to do with the addition to the garage, and then 2 is the pre-existing shed, which is behind the garage? Okay.
So the interesting thing here is that, like, as you mentioned, that shed is already there, and one of the variances is for the shed. Then there's the side setback variance, which it's one of the side setback to the south is to acknowledge the existing garage. They're not doing anything on that side, it's just to acknowledge the 3-foot variation, or is it 2-foot? 2 or 3 foot, whatever is.
Oh, when you say 2, so it's 0.6 feet to the north and 2 feet to the south is the...
Yeah, but so the kind of largeness of the addition, technically, you know, if they comply with the lot coverage, they're only 0.6 feet off from complying with the setback on the northern side. And they comply with the height, so if they just, I mean, they could reduce it, but it would still, I think
So it's
from.
still the yard coverage.
Yeah.
Right, because two out of 3 exist.
3 out of 3.
I think it sounds a lot worse, because we're also counting in the lot coverage, there's like a concrete area, pathway, and there's like the brick in the back, there's a lot that's being counted that's not the garage or the addition.
Got it.
Spoken with Patrick regarding removing the back shed.
This one
That was,
already
a
exists, this
condition.
one already exists, this is just.
Yeah, and I don't know if you said that loud enough, but he would be willing to remove the shed in the back if that was a condition. I don't know if that would help kind of reduce the lot coverage request for us.
Did you
Sorry,
all hear
sorry.
that?
No, I'm sorry. I was trying
That they'd be willing to remove the existing shed that's behind the garage, if that would,
Then we would be asking for 2 variances, and the lot coverage variance would be reduced from 89 to, doing too much math today. The dimensions of the shed. Do you know the dimensions of the shed? Approximately.
Feet by, I want to say 10.
So it's like 30 square feet.
So,
And the concrete pathway, that's only there to get to the shed, right? So you could remove that too. I mean, I don't know if that is something you'd be willing to do.
yeah, it's been there since we purchased the house.
But that's,
Quiet us to this today.
okay, I have a question for my fellow board member, or actually, skip that, I'm going to ask you. As council, we have to, before we can grant a variation, period, we have to meet the 7 or the 8 standards in front of us. And number 4 of those standards is the alleged hardship has not been created by any person presently having a proprietary interest in the subject of the property. Could you address that, please?
Yeah, I mean, I think on a surface level, the situation is what it is. The stepfather, who is not the property owner, did work without permits. That's hardship that's not created by the applicant. But as to the property itself, it is a small lot. It's only 39.9 feet wide. The primary residence itself is already established. It's been there for about 100 years. They don't have a whole lot of area to work with and also meet all of the code requirements. And with the garage itself, being a 2-car garage and not being conforming to the existing code requirements, any type of an addition, like any type of work that would financially make sense for any property owner to do here, to kind of substantiate the amount of space being provided, as well as the cost. I think you're looking at a property that has all of these constraints with the long driveway that is required to access the garage in the back. That they can't work within that area. That's 13 feet of width of the lot that's just out of commission for any type of an addition. Also, this residence is closer to the front yard, to the front property lot line than the residence is to the north and south. So it's set further to the front and has this longer driveway to the rear. And so the only natural place for any type of an addition would be in that rear yard area, which, I mean, it sounds like, they're already over the lot coverage requirement with what was there before. So there's just a lot of challenges with this site as had been developed over 100 years ago. And then, if you look at the literal what's being calculated in the lot coverage with the concrete walkway, the shed, the bricks in the back, everything is being included. It's just, it's really hard to comply with what the code requirements are on such a small lot. If they had more space, I don't think this would be as big of a deal, but again, they're technically conforming with the height requirement, and they're just nearly off from the northern portion of the side setback by like 0.6 inches. So it's they're trying to do the best that they can with the limited space that they have on this lot. And accommodate their big family, accommodate the fact that they're contractors, they do have ladders, they have, things that need to get stored for the family, for kids, for, work stuff that's not, again, not commercial storage, but things that you don't want to have sitting out there in the backyard or the front yard or while it's waiting to get taken somewhere else.
Okay. Does anyone else have questions? No? Okay. So with that in mind, okay, Member Chase, I'm putting you on the hot seat.
It's okay, it's my turn.
They could sit back down.
Yeah. Yes, please, you can feel free to sit back down. I apologize.
This is tough. It's it's concerning that it was put up without a permit. I mean, I know that it's, looking at the standards, I know that and it does affect the standards because we have to address whether or not the hardship was created by a person having an interest, and I'm not sure how we can look at the hardship as being there's a structure there, and it's a large ask to have that that large of a structure on the lot. It's that, I guess those are my two concerns, that it's already there, and it is a big ask. I'm having a hard time with this one. I appreciate the need for space. I appreciate that that is a small house and a small garage. Just want to look at what the variance we're asking to give, the amount of, I'm mostly concerned about the size of with the three variances, I'm mostly concerned about the allowable rear coverage. There's a limitation of 50% to allow coverage of almost 90%. That's a lot, that's large.
Okay. Thank you. And, sorry, I'm going by seniority, or I should run this way first, but whatever. Member Zorinsky, where's your head?
I feel terrible saying this because you seem like a great guy, and I'm just blocking out the fact that this is already built and there was no permits, and, taking that, putting it aside, I'm looking at it as like, if you just showed up here and said, this is my property, I want to build this garage, do I meet these standards? And to me, I don't think you do. I think that 90% lot coverage just is excessive. And, the zoning code and the zoning districts are, well thought out, and planned out for a reason to protect, the neighborhoods from bulk and stormwater and, unnecessary, building. And I just feel like it's just, it's a big ask. And, it's meaningful that, we'll take your word for it that neighbors on both sides are supportive, even though they didn't send a letter or call Patrick or anything. But, again, there's unintended consequences, and there's, stormwater, and, I'm looking at this huge structure and I'm seeing 1,000 square feet of water going on his neighbor's property. Just there's things that haven't been thought out that normally would get thought out through a normal planning process with engineering drawings and building permits and, city, buy-in that was just kind of missed. And it's sort of, it's just, it's unfortunate. I just think it's a lot of bulk on this lot, and I don't think I can support it. I don't think it really fits the essential character of the neighborhood. I think it's just I don't think it's in harmony with the intent of the zoning code, and I'm sorry, and I think you're probably a great guy, and I feel terrible saying this, but I don't, the city council's charged us with, interpreting these standards for variation, and I don't think that you meet it.
Can I just say something, because I forgot to mention the drainage? That's a really good point. So they would put a French drain in if this is approved, and as part of the permitting, they would have to make sure that it's adequate for the lot. It's not in a flood plain or an area that commonly floods, but they would still put in a French drain and make sure that if it were to get approved, that they have that in place and that the city's engineer has a.
Right, it's just hard to look at it, retroactively too, and that's essentially the reason why we have lot coverage, is to prevent, issues with stormwater and things of that, so.
Would it make a difference if they reduced the lot coverage?
I mean, I don't see how you could meaningfully do it enough. I mean, chipping off a sidewalk here and there doesn't really reduce enough, in my opinion. And then we're talking about adding bulk on the top of the house, just seems like there's a lot.
Or if they got it down, so it's not like 89, but like 70%, then maybe they can go back and reconfigure the addition with their architect to make that work and not be as much over the permitted amount.
Since our garage already covers, I want to say 55, 54% of the allowed coverage. I guess my question for the board would be, what would be an appropriate coverage that you guys would suggest?
I'm not sure about that yet, but before we have any sort of that discussion, let's see what the rest of the board members are saying, and then, but definitely jot that down so we can potentially address that if necessary.
But for me, I don't think I can give you like a number and say, I'm comfortable at this level, because it's just, you're already at that level. And just because it's a small lot doesn't really, it's not enough of a hardship to add so much bulk.
Well, if we asked for like a continuance and came back with like a drawing that doesn't reflect what's there?
Potentially, let's just.
Sorry, okay, I'm
Let's
sorry.
keep going, and then, because I think there's going to be some other follow-up questions, potentially.
Okay.
Member Weisberg.
Yeah, so unless I'm wrong, like, I don't really think it's our job to penalize them for already building it. I know it's kind of hard to do. But from my understanding, it just, can they build it or not, right? And as Member Zaransky said, obviously the lot coverage is a lot. So, I mean, in that regard, like, I think the standard 4, I wouldn't throw that out just because they've already built it, If they were just coming here with plans, would there be a hardship? I think that's something to consider. But for me, it's really 7 and 8, right? So I haven't been convinced that it would not alter the essential character of the neighborhood, partially because just based off of the heights of the existing houses and then the heights of this garage, I could see where neighbors are going to say, this is going to be something that really sticks out and kind of like, affects the neighborhood. But on the other end, I mean, you're backing into train tracks, right? And I can't really tell what's on either side of the existing garage, but it looks like it might be nothing now. So, I mean, I would just say if a different plan came in with kind of better renderings of what it looked like, and even maybe you were talking about an addition of a house, I mean, part of my concern is, okay, if the garage is going to be much taller than every other garage in the neighborhood, and the house itself isn't, it's like they're the same height, which is kind of rare. If they were coming in with, okay, we're going to build an addition to the house, and then the garage looks a lot smaller compared to that, I mean, maybe that's a different consideration. But again, then it comes to, are we just putting too much bulk on one small piece of property, right? But so I would definitely not be against modifying it or seeing more on it. I personally am not kind of holding it against them that it's already been built. But yeah, I wouldn't be able to approve without just more convincing, whatever that entails. But I would need kind of to really understand what the neighborhood looks like and how this is kind of affecting it. And again, I think, and there wasn't really anything spoken on this, just the fact that it backs into railroad tracks, you know, it's not like you're backing into another neighborhood or a street or anything that has any relevance to kind of preventing any of your other neighbors in that regard in the backside from, you know, their enjoyment of their property. So I don't know, I think there's room to do it, but yeah, I mean, I would definitely need something to be changed or just more information kind of to make it easier.
Okay, thank you. And Member Arnoff?
Sorry, I was looking at some more pictures. This is challenging. It's a big ask, and I agree that there is a hardship because of the narrowness of the lot, and I agree that, as you said, in the back, there's railroad tracks, so I don't want to say who cares, but it's not as relevant because there's no houses back there. But it's a big coverage, and while we may not be tasked with penalizing you for something that's already done, my belief is approving it would be rewarding a bad act. That's just me. And, you know, I don't think that's appropriate. So I think it's got to, right now, I'm not for it, and I think if it came back smaller, because it is huge lot coverage, but I'm not adverse to expanding that garage, but not at the size that you asked.
Okay. And for my questions, so Daniel is your stepfather, and he does not live at the house?
He does.
He does live at the house, but he doesn't own the house?
Correct.
You own the house?
Yes.
And whose business is it?
It's my stepfather's business.
Okay, and you have no ownership in that business?
Correct.
Okay.
So you're, or what?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to treat you as two individuals, and the corporation is its own individual, but it's connected to him, not you. Okay, that's good for where you stand. It is in my opinion, a very large ask, and I think, especially as Member Weisberg said, it really has to do with harmony and spirit of the zoning code. It's just, it's large. It's disproportionately large, in my opinion, for what we have there. Also, since I do have you standing there, for your backyard that goes into the train tracks, do you have the path on your side, like the rails for trails?
I'm not sure of the, can you,
No.
Like the bike trail, you mean?
Yeah.
So that's on the east side.
Okay, so
Pretty sure.
yes.
Yeah.
okay, got it. I just wanted to see about that too. Unfortunately, at this time, I don't believe the standards have been met, and I could not approve it. And if you were to read the room, it's not looking like if we took a vote today that this would be approved. With that in mind, you have some choices right now, which would be to potentially come back with a different proposal or different information to a future meeting, but even if you were to do that, it's not a guarantee for approval. It's just giving you an option.
Say whether or not you are aware or not, there are 2 members of the board that are not present tonight too, that maybe would be here also.
There's, no, wait, 3, 5.
2 more.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm having math issues this late. Right. So with 2 more people here that you would need,
Yeah, I think we would like to ask for a continuance, and I do appreciate the feedback we've received. I think we know the general concerns of the board that we can take back to the drawing table and figure out if there's something else we can propose that would be more in line with what the board may be comfortable with, and then come back with that. We're definitely going to need lot coverage variance no matter what we propose, but maybe it'll just be less of a variance. And also stylistically, it sounds like maybe providing some colored elevations and showing the drawing may be helpful, and give us a chance to have a second go at it.
So thinking timeline.
Can I also recommend just one thing?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe just, doesn't matter for me as much, but just for your own case, you may want to just talk to the 2 neighbors that are directly next door. And if they are in fact in support, maybe have them call Patrick or send them a letter just so they kind of understand like what's going on here.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've been talking a lot about perpetuity, and I guess it's, we have to look out for future neighbors also. So we have to consider that also, but it may be worthwhile to talk to them about that.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, we tried, but it was kind of last minute. Our efforts were over an extended period of time. So we will try again, and hopefully we have a better information and better materials for you that are more in line with what I think the board may be comfortable with.
and just to piggyback on Member Zaransky, really addressing the standards is key for helping us make our decisions, because that's what they have to be based on. Also, in terms of, this is just piggybacking on Member Zaransky, is that there was definitely a focus for the letters that were in favor of, that talked about the construction itself, and, oh, it's not too noisy, it's not too anything, which is obviously a good thing, but those really aren't the long-term concerns or benefits that we want to necessarily hear about.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Just going to timeline now. The next available ZBA would be April 16th. Would that date work for you? Do you think you would need a little bit more time on that? It's about 3 weeks away.
Is that it? That's a Thursday, right?
Correct.
I may have a conflict.
The next available would be May 7th.
We're missing one in May, in April?
I think May 7th would work better, would give us more time.
You miss a
If we're
couple
gonna
and
put
jam
together
it in.
drawings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The marathon meeting.
Yeah, right.
So a request to continue this to the May 7th ZBA meeting. Yeah, April has one canceled meeting, so we only have one meeting next month. And then the first available is May 7th.
Okay, so would someone like to make a motion to continue this to the May 7th meeting?
I'll make a motion to continue VAR 2026-00062 to the May 7th meeting.
Excellent, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Excellent, thank you. And roll call vote, please.
Member Arnoff?
Aye.
Member Weisberg?
Aye.
Member Zaransky?
Aye.
Vice Chair Chase?
Aye.
And Chair Yablon.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Of course, you're welcome.
Just stating this for the record, continuations made at the meeting, they do not need to renotice. The item will be held on May 7th.
Excellent, thank you. And we had a continuation for the property at 3504 Dado that we discussed earlier. So that brings us to number 6, staff report. Is there a staff report for this evening?
No items, yeah. And then again, I'll state for the record that 3504 Dado is continued to the April 16th meeting, and they also do not need to renotice. But no staff report or any other business.
Okay, excellent. Number 7, miscellaneous. Anyone have anything fun or exciting to share?
Patrick's reports have been phenomenal, for the record.
Wow, thank
So
you.
there's no penalty if someone does this just with the city, or there's no fine, or?
I mean, there's enforcement actions. Adjudication is the process for property maintenance and permit missing.
Just curious, like, some of these pictures that we saw of the, like, just the state of the yard, just with junk everywhere, that's not an enforcement issue?
Yeah, but that's like a property maintenance. They've worked with our building division on those fronts.
Gotcha.
Okay. And as part of miscellaneous, I'll say it one more time, which is that I was spoken to about making sure to call on all of my board members before we ask questions so that it's easier for the court reporter as well as just establishing the record. So as a gold star, Member Zaransky gets one for today's meeting, and it's appreciated. And I think that brings
Like
us.
a button, like, you know, hit the button. And if they were like,
Buzz.
you know, then you would know.
Yeah. Raise the hand. And I know that also Member Zaransky, you had asked this before, is we just, because we haven't had a member of city council here since the beginning of the year? Is
Yeah,
that?
I don't. Yeah, that is true. I don't know.
Okay. Let the record show that no member from city council has been here. Just putting it out there.
Is our second meeting or third meeting of the year?
Third.
Third?
Okay, so adjournment? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Gavel, it's your day.